Happy Q&A Friday and happy 4th of July to each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. My name is Mike Hathcote. I'm a full-time voice actor. This is the daily voiceover huddle on the number one voiceover related channel on YouTube. We have 84,000 subscribers and over 1,500 free videos for you to learn more and more about voiceover. I'm glad you're here. Um, Pick up the book, The Voiceover Blueprint, if you haven't already, for less than $10. You get the audio book as well as the digital download. If you're new to voiceover, it is the roadmap or the blueprint, ding, on how to actually get started in voiceover. So today, just like every Friday, is Q&A Friday. Is where we answer your questions about all topics of voiceover. And yeah, that's why we're here. So don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, of course, and chime in on the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. I'll do some shout outs here in a minute. And without further ado, let's get into your questions. How about that? Hey, Jason, good morning from Kearney, Nebraska. He's first in today. He says, time to earn that XP and support the channel that I love. Thank you. He says, thank you for teaching us that trick or that pickup editing trick or editing hack. Gosh, I need to get my eyes fixed. I've been using it on my current audiobooks and it's saving me a ton of time. Yeah. Just a quick recap on that. Basically, I used to either go to the end of the file and re-record the line that I wanted to replace, or open another file and do that if it was a longer, issue. But really, to save tons and tons of time, all you need to do is put your playhead right before the line that you need to re-record, hit play, record the line however long it takes. If you make a mistake, whatever, click or whatever you're doing to do that, to mark your mistake. Then once you've recorded the new line or the replacement line, you copy it and then undo the record, Command Z or Control Z, whichever computer you're on, and then just paste it right back into where it should be instead of having to go to the end or do all that other stuff. Saves a lot of time. And then you just rerun your rack on that one space or that one new line that you wrote or recorded, and you're done. So try it out. Grady says, happy 3rd of July, all. Took my time machine backwards in honor of yesterday. Yeah, people were getting yesterday mixed up, saying that it was the 4th and it was really the 3rd. So Grady went back in time and did the same thing. And Grady was on the TV affiliate bootcamp call last night. That was our 4th session. Grady killed it last night. We have so many talented people in that bootcamp. I cannot wait to see the results and hear all the demos that are going to be done when we're done with this thing. It's going to be amazing. There's Mark. Happy Friday from Montreal. And Callie says, happy 4th from the Pasco, Washington. Black Cat Production says, this is Joel. Happy 4th from McKinney, Texas. And Joel, speaking of Joel, we are actually in the final stages of his demo. Actually the demo itself is done. I'm now working on the video portion of it so that he can have not only the audio, but the video. So he can put that on his website or put it on social media. Having a video demo is so much more impactful than just audio. Audio is fine, but a video just appeals to more senses, and we as humans are video and visual creatures. We like to see and hear things, because think about it. I mean, would you rather, just listen to a football game, or would you rather watch a football game? Right. So having a video aspect to your demo makes so much difference in, it's memorable, people being able to remember it. So I'm almost done with that. There's Happy and Joyful from Florida. Good morning to you. Afternoon. And there's Sarah. Morning from Kentucky. There's Nancy in Yankton, South Dakota. Happy 4th. And Andrew from Latvia. And there's Tim from Altoona. He says happy 4th as well. Theo says, happy Friday and U.S. Independence Day to all from lovely Palos Hills, Illinois. Finishing up an audiobook today with 2 more in the pipeline. That's the way you do it. Keep that pipeline pumping. Keep those jobs coming in. Need questions though, guys. I need questions. It's Q&A Friday. Ask it away. Any question works. I don't care if it's what's a microphone? Okay? No such thing as silly questions on this channel. Andrew says, Happy Independence Day. Thank you. And there's Wayne from Port Orchard, Washington, and Dennis from Grant Park, Illinois. Hey, there's Kirk. He says, Happy 4th on the way to the beach in Charleston, South Carolina. Nice. Yeah, are you guys working today? Or are you off today? Or are you doing a little bit of both like I am? I've got some work to do early, and then I'm going to knock off early and go have my 4th of July at my in-laws' house where we always celebrate my niece's birthday on the 4th of July, which is her birthday. And so we have kind of a combination birthday party and 4th celebration. So should be fun. But I did pick up a new big time client today or yesterday, but I'm doing the job today. Papa Murphy's, who is a take and bake pizza outfit where you go to their location and you take, the pizza, the freshly made pizza home and put it in your oven to bake. If you've never heard of them, but it's a pretty cool little outfit. I've eaten there or eaten from there plenty of times. So take and bake as opposed to shake and bake. Callie says, I'm about 3/4 of the way through your book, Mike, and loving it. So well written and thorough. I'm getting a lot out of it and can foresee freelancing, referencing it often. Thank you, Callie. I don't know what's going on with my eyeballs today. But thank you for that. Thank you for that. Did you get the audiobook or did you get the actual, the hard copy or the, ebook? Either one works, but, get the one you like. Hey, Ralph. Ralph also crushed it last night on the call, on the TV affiliate bootcamp call. I can't stress enough how talented the people in that bootcamp are. And once again, I cannot wait to hear the results when everybody's done. There's JJ. She says, Hi, Mike and all from Montrose, Minnesota. And there's Grady. Says, thanks, brother. Appreciate your kind words. Great group of talent in that boot camp. It really is. It really, really is. I remember being in the very first boot camp we did back in 21 when Bill was here. And there were some talented people on there, but it seems like every single person on this boot camp has it, that it factor, that thing that you need to succeed in TV affiliate. So yeah. Theo says, remember to hit that like button, y'all. Thank you for that reminder. Once again, appreciate it, Theo. And there's Dennis. Happy 4th of July, everyone, from Pasadena. And Tracy from Rochester, Minnesota. Happy and Joyful says, your blueprint book is absolutely amazing. Oh, thank you very much. That means a lot. Glad you liked it. JG says, and you also did a production class in the VO Blueprint a little while ago, Mike. I'm going to re-listen to it today. A production class, I guess you mean like with Adobe Audition or something. I guess that's what you're referring to. Yeah, there's definitely a production class in there on how to not only record and edit, but also do the multi-track editing and processing and adding music and effects and all that, fully mixing up, a piece of audio. So yeah, that's in the blueprint. Kevin says, I got the blueprint years back and have no idea what you mean by video voiceover. It's basically a video version of your demo. So you can have an audio demo, an MP3 or a wave that you can just hear and listen to, but adding video footage to it, because here's the thing, a commercial voiceover demo is a series of commercial spots, maybe 10 to 15 seconds each of different styles of reads for different commercial spots. It's fine to listen to it. I mean, that does get across what you can do. But if you put commercial footage, actual commercial footage, or even stock footage of, try to assemble a look and feel of a commercial so that it not only sounds like a commercial, but looks like a commercial. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about a video demo. And if you want to get an idea of what I'm talking about, if you go to my website, mikehathcote.com, you will see my commercial demo is front and center there. So if you want to go check that out and see what an actual video demo looks like, that's what it is. That demo was given to me as just audio, by the producer when I did that commercial demo, got the audio, and then I assembled video footage to it to make it more real. And that's the idea. Kathleen says, "Hello, happy 4th of July. Stay cool. You stay cool." It is gonna be hot today here, as always in Phoenix, but, yeah, stay cool. Jump in the pool. That's what we're gonna do. Tim says, "Have you noticed how much LinkedIn is restricting your capability in the free version?" Yeah, they are definitely kind of, tightening the screws a little bit on that. I know that they've limited how many times you can reach out directly to a new prospect or a new contact or connect. Um, so yeah, I mean, I still think all you need is the free version, to do what we need to do, which is just make connections. Because there's no limit to how many connections you can make, but there is a limit to how many times you can send in a note when you make that connection. But just being connected is really what it's all about, so that they can see your content when you post it. For instance, a little bit later today, I'm going to post that I picked up this new client, Papa Murphy's. So that's going to go on LinkedIn. And so people will be able to see that. All my connections, I think I've got like, I don't know, 2,500 connections on LinkedIn or something. Every one of them, hopefully, will be able to see that when I post it. Shows I'm still working and I'm still picking up name brand clients. JJ says gonna do the fake audition today. Congrats on Papa Murphy's. We have one in town. Yeah. Today is the deadline. Today at 6 p.m. Pacific time is the deadline for your submissions on the fake audition in the blueprint. So if you're not familiar with what we do on the fake audition, I post a piece of copy, a piece of, an actual commercial script, have people submit their reads. We pick a winner. The winner actually gets a fully produced audio and video demo of that spot that they can use in their marketing. So we do that once a month in the VoiceOver Blueprint YouTube or Facebook group. Kathleen says, Papa Murphy's is great. We have one in our town. Yep. I think the first time I used Papa Murphy's was in Denver back in the early 2000s. They had one down the street from where I lived, and we definitely used it a lot. Andrew says, off topic, do you wear each day a different t-shirt? Yes, because I shower every day. And so I want to make sure that I don't put dirty clothes on. So yes, I do not wear the same clothing every day. Today is my Fab Four shirt. So yes, I definitely wear a new t-shirt every day. Or not a new t-shirt, a different t-shirt. It's not always about a music band, but I do like music and I do have a lot of music shirts. So I think we did that a while back where I did a different, band or group t-shirt every day for a week or so. Ralph says, congrats on Papa Murphy's. Thank you, sir. And Happy and Joyful says the same. Congratulations on your new clients. Jim says, I looked into buying a Papa Murphy's franchise a few years ago, but they started facing financial difficulties. Looks like they're making a rebound. Yeah, I hope so. I haven't used them in years. And here in Phoenix, I'm sure they're around, but I just haven't seen them. But yeah, I guess so. I'm not really familiar with how they work. Kylie says, I got the ebook with the extras. Highly recommended. It will probably get physical copy, or I will probably get a physical copy as well to highlight and make notes. Yeah, and I've actually heard people who, it seems to stick better if you get the hard copy and then read it as you're listening to the audiobook. It tends to stick better. So I don't know. There's that option as well. So yeah, whatever you think. Denise says, hi from Long Island. Happy 4th. And there's JJ says, and adding video too. Not sure what that's referring to, but cool. Lynette says, "Happy 4th. What a fantastic class last night in the boot camp." Yes, it was. And you also did great, Lynette. I mean, like I said, everybody in there just really, really did well, and is continuing to do well. You know, Aaron is such a great teacher and a coach, in coaching that genre, but there were several people that he was, first run, he was just like, I got nothing. That was a great read, great first read. And so, yeah, lots of good talent in that class. Terry says, "Happy 4th from Fallston, Maryland." Callie says, "What can you tell us about getting started with adding sound effects, music, and video to our demos? Is there a good resource to learn how to do that? I'm working on a DIY demo for practice." Yes. Okay. There's a lot to unpack there. When it comes to adding music and sound effects, you definitely need to know how to use the multi-track editor in whatever your DAW is. So, whether you're using Audacity or Adobe Audition or Reaper or, any of the other, excuse me, any of the other ones out there, um, there's definitely a skill set involved in, you've got your first track, which is your voice track. Second track is music. Third, fourth, fifth, however many, different sound effects you're gonna add in there. So, and then adjusting the levels of each one to make sure that they blend and work well together. So there's definitely a skill set there. But as far as finding the music and sound effects, there's several places you can go. You can go to, like a one-stop shop kinda place, like a Storyblocks, which I have a subscription to. You can get, audio, music. You can get stock footage if you're trying to add video. You can get sound effects. You can get, stock images, and there's all that kinda stuff all in one place. So that's Storyblocks. It does cost, but if you're looking for a free version, the YouTube audio library is a good place to go for royalty-free music. Um, a great place for sound effects is freesound.org, freesound.org. And it's a really cool site. Once again, it's free to join, obviously, but it's full of user-generated content, meaning that anyone who signs up for that platform can record anything and upload it. So you're gonna find so much just randomness on that site. Random, just, I don't care what you just put in your search. Here's an example. I was working on a demo years ago with a client, and he had a Mazda spot on his, and I think I may have told this story here before, but I'll tell it again. He had a Mazda 3, I believe, spot on his demo, and he needed like the sound of a car whizzing by, like that. And, so we went to Freesound and just typed in Mazda 3, and not only did he get a sound of a car going by, he actually got a sound of a Mazda 3. Talk about authentic, right? So you'd be surprised at how specific you can find things on freesound.org. Um, so yeah, Freesound is a great place. There's another good one for royalty-free music called Epidemic Sound. Is another one. I mean, there's a bunch. You can just go Google free, royalty-free music, and you'll get a bunch of places. Now when it comes to adding video, you have to have, video editing skills, and a good video editing software. I use, Final Cut Pro, which is a video editing software. It's Mac only. Can't use it for PC, but most computers nowadays come built in with some sort of free video editing software. If you have a Mac, I believe iMovie comes free with it. If you have a PC, I think there's one called like Windows Movie Maker or something that comes on that. So, and then there's a ton of videos on how to use those, but when you're putting those all together, music, sound effects, VO, and video, it's a multi-step process, and so you have to take your time, and you have to, kinda cobble everything together, but boy, when you do it right, it makes all the difference. Once again, if you wanna see an example of that, check out my website. on the first page, and you'll see, and then if you scroll down there, you'll see a bunch of other videos that I've done. All right. Black Cat Productions, I think that's Joel, says, "Congrats on Papa Murphy's. Turns out there's one up the street from me. Cool. Yeah, check them out." Jason says, "Thank you for the sound design tips. It's really intimidating for me." Yeah, just here's the thing. It always is. Anything new, you're gonna have there's a learning curve. But just tinker with it. Just go in and play around, poke around. Most of the video editing and audio editing software is pretty, pretty not self-explanatory, but pretty intuitive. And once again, YouTube is your friend on learning how to do all that stuff. Of course, if you're already in the blueprint, I've actually got how-to videos as they relate to voiceover on all that stuff. But yeah, it's a skill. It's a skill set, and you have to learn, and you can't just know it immediately. JJ says, "Do you worry about royalty-free versus attribution music or copyright-free?" No, I don't. I just make sure that I get only, royalty-free. Um, I really don't worry about it because the chances of that person or those people hearing that music on your specific project are very slim. But once again, these are royalty-free sites, so that you don't need to pay royalties for them. Now, attribution is different because if you're using royalty-free music, meaning you don't have to pay, but they do require an attribution. And of course, attribution means listing somewhere who produced that music. So for instance, for this documentary that I just finished working on, and we had the premiere last weekend, a week ago today, um, I used royalty-free music, but I did give the attribution in the credits. When the credits roll, every song in order of, in order that they showed in the video, got the song name and the attribution of who created it because, I want to give credit where credit is due. I got the music for free, might as well let people know who created it. LTRS says, "So I have a stutter. I'm pretty a I'm pretty apparent and hard to string certain words together, like BS and DS, or I'm sorry, like B's and D's. But when I get it, it sounds very nice. Should I disclose this and discourage live sessions?" Wow, that's a really good question. Um, I don't know if I would discourage. I don't know if I would disclose this. Huh. Let me noodle this for a minute. I wouldn't disclose it up front because if the final product is good, who cares, right? As far as a non-live directed session, which most sessions are non-live directed. You're just by yourself working in your booth. So I wouldn't disclose that up front because if you can get around it when you're working and the final product sounds great, then they never have to know that. Now, when it does come to live directed sessions, that would be where you probably would want to disclose it because up front, in the session, just mention it, just say, "Hey, just an FYI, I have a slight stutter and, we'll get the final product. So don't worry, it always works out, but it may take me a little bit longer to get there." So, be upfront about it. Don't try to, you know, lie about it or anything like that. Just let them know up front, "Hey, I do have a little stutter. It may take a little longer, but the final product is going to sound amazing because it always does." And just try that. Andrew says, "Yeah, Windows has the Windows Live Movie Maker." Okay, that's what it is. Windows Live Movie Maker. Hey, there's Sean from Longview. Late but made it. Happy 4th. Sean's on the affiliate boot camp last night, also killing it. Sarah says, "You mentioned a free option similar to Storyblocks. I missed it. Will you please repeat? If there's a free option, thanks." Yeah. So YouTube audio library. If you have a YouTube account, you can log in go into the studio, YouTube Studio, and down in the bottom left-ish, about 3/4 of the way down on the left, it says, YouTube Audio Library. And you can do your search for, the different, genres or the different, what's the word? Not genres, but, well, I guess genre would be a good word. Different, instruments even, if you want something that's just drum heavy or bass heavy or whatever. Um, and the mood, you can search by mood. And so, yeah, YouTube Audio Library. Theo says, dang, the closest Papa Murphy's to me is 60 miles away in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Well, it's a little bit of a drive, so you're probably not going to make a special trip, but hey, maybe the next time you're in Kenosha, check it out. LTRS says, I can definitely get around it. And this is referring to the stutter, but it takes several attempts. Thank you for addressing my question. You're awesome. No, you're awesome. Don't let a stutter hold you back. One of my best friends, I have a close group of about, I got a lot of friends, but from high school, I've got a close group of 4 guys that we're still like every year we make a trip together, we all the way since high school. So we're really good friends. But one of those friends does or did have a really strong stutter. And of course he's worked with, dialect coaches and not dialect, stutter coaches or speech impediment coaches and has gotten much, much better. And I know there are certain, words that you can avoid that you kind of get hung up on. And he explained this to me at one point. So yeah, just take your time, do what you've learned to get around those things. And, it all works out. Callie says, thank you for those production tips. Well, you're welcome. There's Steven in Atlanta. Good to see you on here. Good afternoon to you. Sean says, have a Papa Murphy's 3 miles away and they have a drive-through window. How about that? Talk about quick and easy. We actually did homemade pizzas last night here. We've been doing that quite a bit. Saves a little bit of money. And to be honest, I like it even better. You can buy all the supplies or all the ingredients at the store, and it takes 10 minutes to throw them in the oven. So we do that quite often. About once a week, we do homemade pizza. Sarah says, YouTube audio is fantastic for audio. To clarify, I intended to ask if there's a free site for video clips to use in a DIY demo. Well, YouTube, you can get YouTube clips, video clips. For instance, if you have let's say you have a spot for, I don't know, Papa Murphy's, okay? You've got a spot for Papa Murphy's on your commercial demo. Well, go to YouTube, look for a Papa Murphy's commercial, download that commercial, strip out the audio, just use the video, and match it up to what you're saying in the spot. If you actually used a spot from YouTube for your script, then you've already got that spot there and you can use it. And because you're only using a tiny little piece of it, you don't have to worry about the, copyright stuff because that falls under the Fair Use Act. Plus, you're using it for demonstration purposes only. It's not like you're trying to sell Papa Murphy's pizza. You're just showing people what you sound like or what you would sound like on a Papa Murphy's ad. So by using a script, you can also use the video clip. So you can try that. Other places you can get free video footage. Once again, just Google it, free video, stock video footage, and you can find plenty of places that you can find that. So lots of different ways to get that stuff. Theo says, homemade pizza is definitely great and fun to make. We do that whenever we can. Yeah. We love to do that. And to be honest, it's probably a little healthier for you too. Of course, pizza in general is not the greatest, most healthy food, but you can pick and choose what kind of, like we use turkey pepperoni and we use, my wife uses gluten-free crusts and stuff. So you can do all that. Well, all right. Tracy says, I haven't found a program to strip the audio from a video. Well, you don't need a program for that. All you got to do is when you import it into your video software, just turn the volume down. Done. You don't have to worry about stripping out the audio some different way. Just drop it into your video editor and it's in your timeline as a thing, as a strip in your timeline. Just take the video of the audio of that video and turn the volume all the way down. And then your volume or your video or sorry, your audio will be the only thing that you hear. Done and done. LTRS says, if I have several burning questions, do you mind if I ask them here right now? Yeah, that's what Fridays are for. Q&A Friday. Questions and answers. Hit me with them. That's what we're here to do. I do need to get to that Papa Murphy's ad real soon, but I'll definitely answer any questions you have. Nick says, happy Friday. Had a question about fiber gigs. Is it good practice to have a client sign an agreement to not manipulate your voice with AI? If you want to do that, you can. What I would do is, let me think here. You could probably put a disclaimer when you deliver the audio. Like when you deliver your file, you can create a canned answer that says, hey, thanks for the order. Here's the file. Let me know if you have any questions or need any changes, whatever. However you word that. But you can put a disclaimer in that canned answer, that says by closing by accepting this, you agree to not manipulate or use this voice for any AI training or blah, 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 blah. I have that on all of my invoices that I send out for all my regular jobs off of platforms. So it probably wouldn't hurt to add that to your delivery message when you deliver a file. Put that little thing on there. And by the way, NAVA, the National Association of Voice Actors, they have the legal verbiage on their site that you can go and grab and use when you do your all that. They've got all that kind of legal disclaimer talk. So go check them out. National Association of Voice Actors. I think it's NAVA.org, NAVA.org. Or no, it's NAVAvoices.org. NAVAvoices.org. LTRS says, oh, I want to hear that ad first. Oh, no, I'm not doing it live. I'm not doing the ad live on this. I'm doing it after we're done here because it may take a minute. So I'm going to have to take my time there. LTRS says, replying to Tracy, she says, Adobe Audition is perfect for what you need. It's $22 a month, and I learned most of it in about 2 weeks. Extremely powerful for the value. Yeah, that's my favorite too. Adobe Audition, if you were to poll all voice actors in the world, I'd say Adobe is probably the one that most people use. Of course, there's plenty more, and they all are fine, but Adobe Audition is very, very it's very powerful, number one, but it's also very user intuitive. The user experience is very easy once you kind of figure out the basics, but it's very intuitive. Happy and Joyful says, you're a wealth of information, and what an inspiring group of professionals in this chat group. Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate every single one of you guys, all your questions. And yeah, that's what Fridays are for, is answering all of that for you. Nick says, thanks so much. Well, you're welcome, Nick. Denise says, awesome content, Mike. Thank you, Denise. And Tracy says, well, thanks for the info. Happy 4th to all. All right, I think I'm going to bounce. I'm going to get to this ad. Actually, I have a couple of jobs here this morning, as well as finishing up Joel's video for his demo. So I've got a few things to do this morning before we go over to my in-laws to celebrate. So I am going to get to it. Hey, I want you all to have a great 4th of July, and remember to keep all your fingers intact, okay? Also, it's all fun and games till someone loses an eye, all right? So until next time, I'll see you on Monday. Peace.